This, get that.
What a great intro that was, Adam.
Okay.
Popping bottles.
Now
Getting crazy up in this podcast room.
Welcome
Welcome to the party, guys.
Now we're introing.
Just in time. This is the intro to the Bikini and the Brain podcast.
Actually, preferred me not popping during the intro. My
No,
can
that
of
was
energy.
the perfect intro.
It's perfect for rain.
Perfect intro.
Okay, so today is Monday.
So it is.
We're 1 week, always 1 week behind on the podcast when you guys are listening to them.
Not always, but for the time being, yeah.
Yeah, for the time being. We're ahead right now, which is actually a first for us. But exciting news, Ashley just won the Mile High Pro. That is 3 Mile High Pros in a row. And she is the only person to ever win the Mile High Pro because it's only been around for 4 years.
But 1 year was COVID year.
1 year was a COVID year, yeah. So
that canceled.
So that canceled one out. So yeah, so you're the defending champion 3 times in a row. That's pretty cool.
How did I do that, Adam?
I don't know.
How do we do that?
I don't know. It's pretty nuts. And she was going to sign the contract for the next year right at the show.
She didn't have it ready, unfortunately, but I would have signed it. I'm doing it next year, so
she's coming. You know. We're gonna try. We're gonna try for 4. We'll see what happens. But congratulations, Ashley.
Thank you.
Now, not just that, but if you guys have been following along, this means that Ashley now has 26 wins, which puts her at tied for second of all-time IFBB Pro wins in history. Now you're not only the most winning women's competitor already, you're now tied for most winning competitor of all time. And you are tied now with, you say it.
Your mom.
Yes, my mom was very good at this stuff. Tied with Ronnie Coleman.
Same thing.
Yes, my mom was pretty jacked.
Just kidding.
My mom was pretty jacked. Tied with Ronnie Coleman, which is pretty crazy to think about. Tied with Ronnie Coleman for being it's crazy to see, you know? It's crazy.
It's crazy. It's hard to put myself in that kind of position because we're vastly different.
Yes.
I mean, it's different categories, but it's still cool nonetheless because he is quite the legend. So
yes,
I'm trying to be a legend one day too. Working my way up there, so we'll see. But I'm having fun. I'm having the time of my life.
Yeah.
We're just getting started. Like I said, we're just getting started. So more to come. Yeah. We'll see what happens. But you know something? It's like I was having this conversation with you. In order to be great, you gotta, put in the work. You gotta take these risks, and you just gotta do it. You know, there's times where I'm sure a lot of people wonder why I'm still competing when I don't have to. I've already qualified for Olympia, but I'm trying to make a statement, and I'm trying to learn something from each show because I always do. Each show, I learn something. For the better or worse, I learn something. So no matter what, I'll keep competing, keep learning, and keep growing.
Yeah. So one of the things, and I think that this is really good for our topic today too, but we were going to the show, we were walking in this hallway at the show, and also congrats to Jeff Taylor, who threw an awesome show at the Mile High. Honestly, it was really good. Anytime you can get a hotel in the venue, it's like such a huge plus. It's such a huge plus. You just walk downstairs, walk through the hallway, go right to the venue. Awesome show. Also, thanks to Dylan Armbrust at Armbrust Pro Gym, who let us do a posing seminar there, who was a judge there too. Just really welcoming environment in Denver, obviously. It was nice seeing everyone, seeing all your faces that I haven't seen in a long time too. So thanks guys for your support too. So many people, I didn't know how many people I saw. It was like, at minimum 100 people that I said hi to, shook hands with. It was a lot.
And everyone was saying that they listened to our podcast. So I think that's so cool to reference podcast episodes that we've done years ago. Maybe not years, but 1.5 year ago.
We've had 91 episodes, so it's...
Wow, we're going to have a party for the 100th, though.
Yeah, that's 2 years almost. It's crazy.
Yeah, 2 years. Almost 2 years, so almost...
Yeah, I think we've missed 3 weeks or something total, traveling or something or whatever. But yeah, especially with the COVID time, I forget. But yeah, so pretty cool. But we're walking down this hallway, and I was talking to Ashley about doing shows, and she's like, I really want to make a statement this year. I want to come in hard. I want to get momentum, and I want to go into the Olympia. And I know these are the things I have to do to be a legend, and I want to be a legend one day. And I was like, Ashley, you're already a legend. And she's like, Adam, I'm just getting started.
Yeah.
And it was crazy to think about because people say that and they just talk smack, but you actually have belief in that, you know? Yeah. You have said it enough where you're no, I got a lot to go. I got a ways to go. Yes, just getting started in this, and I have a lot to improve on. I'm still gonna make improvements from show to show, and I'm still gonna, make my mark, which is crazy because a lot of people I think would be sitting in your position and be like, I've made my mark, and and start taking it easy.
Relax.
But you're like, no, what's next?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and actually, with that being said, she's gonna jump into another show.
Yep, this weekend. Why not? It's like I said, each show, especially when you come off a win, right? It's kind of like you don't want to ruin your momentum. But again, it's the risk. I'm risking ruining my momentum because I just came off a fresh dub. But at the same time, what if I don't do it? I'll probably sit back and be like, well, what if I did that show? And I don't expect to win all the shows, like I mentioned. But in order to kind of rack up those dubs, I got to get myself out there in the shows more. And, that way it can hopefully bring home more of those dubs. But it's not even just about the dubs, guys. It's about the learning lessons and everything that goes along with it, and improving and just having fun in general, because I'm having the time of my life. I don't know, I feel like I probably annoy poor Adam over here because I'm a handful, I'm always competing and prepping, and, so God bless you, Adam, for dealing with me. I try not to be too annoying.
You know what's funny? with that, I had, it was 2 weekends ago, I was just like at home and we didn't have a show. And I was like, man, I'm bored. I was like, yes. I went and played poker. I was at home like most of the time. I worked out 2 times. I think one time I worked out 3 times in a day. I was like, I think I just want to go to a few shows for a while and travel to go to shows because I'm bored at home. Yeah. So I was like, it was, and last weekend was busy, and actually it was really nice.
Yeah.
Besides being delayed on my flight 6 hours.
Oh God, I know the feeling. Were you on the tarmac?
It was makes me mad. This is what makes me mad about the flight. They tell us you get to the airport, and as soon as you get to the airport, they send you, your flight's delayed. It was supposed to be leaving at 7:30, and it got delayed to 9:30, and then they delayed it again to 10, and then delayed it again to 10:50. Yeah, so I was there an hour early for the 7:30 flight. So I was there 6:30 or something. And so, we didn't get on the plane till 11, I guess, 10:50. And finally we get there, then we land, and then we landed, and of course, because we're late, there's another plane at our gate. So we have to wait, as we land, then we wait for another 30 minutes. And they tell you 5 minutes, like you said. Oh, we're just waiting, he's actually pulling away now. No, 40 minutes later, we finally get to our gate. I think it was 30 minutes. And then we get to the gate, and then they go, what do they say? They said, anyone going to Baltimore, there was a what is it called, a layover? Is it not layover? Where you go to Baltimore, anyone connecting to Baltimore, please raise your hand. So they got up, and then they got to get off the plane first. So we had to wait for everyone to go to Baltimore, and no one was rushing off the plane. They're just taking their time. And then one girl had her headphones on, and he's like, no one else to Baltimore. And then finally we're all waiting. He's like, everyone stay seated unless you're going to Baltimore. And this girl's had her headphones on, didn't know, so then she's waiting. And then they finally 10 more minutes, and then she gets her bag out of the top and is taking her time. And I'm like, lady, we're all waiting on you. There's 300 of us. Yeah, so then we waited, and then they got mad that everyone got up and was getting in the aisle. So he made us wait an extra 10 minutes. I was honestly, it felt like he was just trying to punish us. And I'm like, dude, we've been here for a 2-hour flight for 8 hours now, 9 hours. Dude. So yeah, that was my flight last night. Other than that, Spirit Airlines, you got to work on that. Other than that, it was a good weekend.
Yeah. So yeah, in general, we had fun though. It was a good weekend. Good weekend.
We dominated.
A lot of team wins, and
won the overall we won the overall in the Open Division too, yes, and the Novice Division, and then you won the Pros. You can't do better than that, you know. And yes, even the girl Abby, who we threw in the show Thursday night, she won her class too. Yeah, so that was kind of crazy too.
That was crazy, but man, what a fun experience.
Yeah.
Great memories to be had, and that's what it's all about, you know.
Yeah, fun one.
And I certainly wouldn't be competing as much as I do if I didn't truly just love it. Yeah. So, I think that makes it a lot easier for me. I don't dread prep. I look forward to everything. So. Yeah.
So Ashley has here's the stats, and this is not a thing Ashley's going after. It's just naturally part of it, but. The next few wins are going to be so crazy because the next win, hopefully we get it, and hopefully everything goes right, goes 27 means that you're now second, not tied for second of all time. Already passing, be passing Ronnie, you passed Arnold. That's crazy to think about, right? Just out loud, saying that out loud is nuts. Then you have, so 27 is second, then 28 becomes one behind, tying the most of all time, which is Dexter. Then 29 becomes tied with Dexter, and then 30 becomes the most winning of all time ever in the history of IFBB. Can you imagine that?
That's crazy.
I mean,
from that.
that's nuts. And what's crazy about it too is it gets the first person to 30 at the same time.
Yeah.
Hopefully it happens. You know,
hopefully
one day. It might be years from now. Who knows? We're not thinking that it's going to be easy or anything like that.
It's never easy, Adam. You know, it's never easy, but
a lot of factors.
Totally worth it. And like I said, we're just gonna come in with our best, what we think we can do, and see where it goes from there. Because at the end of the day, you can only control one thing, and that's yourself. You can't control who shows up, how they show up, or how it's going to be judged. So come in your best, do your best.
Yeah, your body.
And enjoy every single moment of it, like I am.
Yeah, and the body's got to keep working for you. There's a lot of you got to avoid injuries. There's a whole bunch of factors that go into it.
Yeah,
you know? So it's
I'm I feel that's like one of the reasons why I'm keeping on, because it's like, why the heck not? I feel amazing. I'm super motivated. I'm already in shape, you could say. I don't have any injuries, no health problems. My sponsor takes care of the travel and accommodations and everything else. I have an awesome coach that's super supportive. So why the heck not?
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Shout out to High Tech too for taking great care of Ashley. Seriously, they're like an awesome
love
sponsor.
seeing me compete. That is what it's all about. I'm so happy to be aligned with such a bodybuilding based nutrition company, because they're, you know, they are very aware of the sport, and they, you know, they love it. They love seeing me compete.
Yeah, they're a great sponsor, and they treat me well too. So I really like them. So thank you, High Tech. So. Anyway, oh yes, we have another award. So Ashley won another award.
Yes, I love this.
It's an official award it's an official award from Angels Competition Bikinis. It is a goat.
It's a goat.
With a sparkly, it's too close to focus. It's a goat with a sparkly, we'll just sort of photo, with a sparkly bikini on. It's got heels and everything. It is the cutest thing in the world.
It has my actual bikini rhinestones that they use for my bikini on it. They just glued it on there, and it's a little goat on a little stand, and it fits in the palm of my hand, and I don't know, that might be the best award I've gotten.
It's so cool.
And it's so small.
It's like the ultimate desk thing, you know?
Cute.
It says the greatest of all time, Ashley Cotwasser, the greatest of all time bikini champion, Ashley Cotwasser, and it's a goat with a bikini and rhinestones on its heels. Yay. That's pretty good.
I'm so lucky to be with, even Angels. They're so supportive. Come on, who else would do this? This is so cute. I just feel so I'm not happy because I'm very supported, and I got people on my side, you know.
Yeah.
Love seeing me compete.
I mean, it takes a village, right? So, we have all this. We got Sam helping you with workouts sometimes, like twice a week right now. So it's there's a lot of that makes it happen. I think that it's good for people to see that too. That, you know, your team will build as you go farther and farther in this, and you're going to have that support too. It just comes with it as you progress. So, but anyway, I think this is a good segue, because we talk about here is the reason that you're doing so well is that you have great off seasons, which allows you to go longer in season, and you're not transforming from show to show. You know, you are maintaining your shape. You're staying within a few pounds of stage weight, and then you're able to jump into another show. You know, a perfect example is this week. You know, most people after the show went out and had a bunch of drinks and food and this and that, and they didn't have the option of competing next weekend and deciding on Monday, hey, I'm going to compete on Saturday, you know? And you didn't do that. You stayed within control, and now you're competing again Saturday. Yeah. Same thing with the girl. Same thing with the girl Abby, right? She was 5 weeks out from her show, her nationals, and I saw her on Thursday night, and I was like, you should compete on Saturday, just in case things don't go good at nationals, and we need a qualification for next year. And also, you get that stage rest off and work it off when you go into Universe. And she went and won her class. Being awesome. 5 weeks out, she won her class with 36 hours of prep.
Amazing.
Yeah, and so that's, you know, progressing from show to show, not transforming from show to show is so important. And I think with today's episode, we're going to talk about is, you know, the post-show diet, how you should be managing your post-show off-season, and the blame game, right, which is a big part of it, which we hear all the time. You want to go into that?
Yeah, so I'm not sure if you guys kind of catch on to this, but you'll see from time to time that a competitor will retire from the sport and kind of, you know, go on to say that maybe their coach ruined them, and that they're, you know, maybe they put on a significant amount of weight, and it's because of something that the coach did, or even sometimes blame the sport as well, which especially when you blame the sport, I'm just get so irritated with that. You know what I'm saying? as far as like a coach on an individual basis, like I don't know what they're actually doing. I don't know how they're prepping, so I can't speak to that. But I think like to blame the whole entire industry is like, I'm like, come on, you know? I think we're living in a time where it's like everyone wants to blame somebody else for something or make an excuse, but they lack accountability. And I was talking to you about this earlier. I think one of the reasons why we see this, or a lot of complaining, is because this sport kind of attracts people that maybe never were in a high-level sport, right?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I'm a former track athlete. I ran track throughout college. And let me tell you something. 2-a-day practices, one at 5 a.m., the other at 3. Track meets every weekend, running 400-meter repeats till I threw up like twice a week. That would be like the common thing. Honestly, I know what hard work is. They taught us like how to take accountability and, you know, all these qualities that are super important for even day-to-day life. But people that weren't in like a hard sport, maybe they played high school basketball or something, and you know, let's be honest, it's a little different once we start to get college or further. Okay, high school it tends to be a little more catered to children, right? So it's not as intense. So I feel like a lot of people don't have a grasp on like what hard work is, and it's actually normal to work hard, and it's your responsibility to stay in shape in the off season. Like in track, you know, if we were expected to stay in shape when we had our little summer break, right? Yeah. I mean, and no one came back to track out of shape and then blamed the coaches or anything like that. It's like, oh, I messed up. I should have practiced more in the summertime or whatever. But I just feel like that we hear a lot of that in the sport, that they kind of just blame others or the sport in general.
Yeah, it's a really common one. I've even had it where, I don't know, people like to get the victim points, yeah. You know, in our society. It's like it's like more value to be a victim than it is to be like work hard. You know, it's like it's just crazy, the mindset of this stuff, and it just doesn't work in this industry because it shows on stage whether you are hardworking or not. You know, so but what I've seen happen too is even like I've even had people come to me as a coach and they'll be like, yeah, my coach didn't give me a reverse diet, so I just blew up over the off season. Like it was like a justified response. Like, oh, of course, because he didn't give me this post-show diet, it was his fault, and that's why I put on 40 pounds. Mm-hmm. I'm like, wait, you know what eating good is. You went through a prep, so you know what being healthy is. No one's stupid if they're in this sport to the point where they're on stage. Like maybe before you get on stage and before you go through a prep, maybe you have a little bit of, you don't really know what it takes, you know, but once you go through a prep and you get on stage, you know that eating donuts post-show for a month is going to make you fat when you were eating, you know, chicken and rice going into the whole time. Like, you know that is 100% on you. So yes, the coach should be giving you post-show diets and getting that to you, and you should be going through that proper correctional phase. But you have to take that personal responsibility. This sport is all about that. And that's what and I even tell, you know, I talk to the cool thing is being here at the Prep Center too, I get to talk to a lot of pro athletes all the time, and a lot of them do really good, and some of them don't do so good. And I was talking to one the other day, and I was telling her, for you to get to the level that you want to get to, it's going to take you being good in the off season because you're transforming into every season. Yeah. Every season you're transforming into a show, you know, 20, 30 pounds. It doesn't make any sense because for this like particular Bikini Pro, it was like about her filling out her frame and making her complete, a little bit of areas here and there that needed a little bit more muscle. And I'm like, you can't really see those areas if they're improving the way you want to see them when they're just hidden by fat. Yes. You know, how do you know you're making those improvements? And then after that, how do you know you're going to keep those improvements when you now have to diet off, you know, 20 pounds of, you know, for, you know, so it's tough, and I get it because it's hard to always like live in prep, but you got to remember, if you're taking the leap of being a professional athlete, it's different than doing this as transformation style. You're doing this for a sport. So it's just like any other sport, especially at the upper ranks. Like a lot of the girls I'll talk to, they're like, one day I'm going to be Miss Olympia. One day I'm going to be this. And I'm like, that's cool. If your actions match that, I believe you. You know, I don't think there's anything special about any Miss Olympia besides they have just worked so damn hard. There's nothing that's like, oh, she's so like, there's no way I could ever do that. I think anyone could do that. I mean, obviously genetic limitations and stuff, But I think as long as everyone's willing to work, but everyone who says that, I don't see them work hard enough for long enough to even get close to it. And that's the biggest difference. The girls who do that work hard enough long enough, you know, not 16 weeks. You know, we're not talking, you know, 16, oh, I stuck to my diet for 16 weeks. I'm going to be next Miss Olympia. We're talking, okay, show me that after 3 years of doing that, and I'll start believing you, you know, type of thing. It's a professional sport. And it sucks to hear that because some people are like, I want to be balanced and lifestyle and this and that, which is great. And I think you should have some balance and some lifestyle in there, but within reason, if you want to do this at the highest level, you know, so your actions have to match it, just like any professional sport. So it reminds me of this, and this is one of the things I really loved Kobe Bryant about, you know, we're definitely that was definitely like the most of the saddest I've ever been when an athlete died was Kobe Bryant. Yeah. Cause he's from LA and I've known, like, I don't know him, but he's in my circle of LA. And so like, I know someone who knows him. Heard a story of him, you know, so many times growing up, like it was always like, he was just always around, you know? And I remember once I heard this really cute story. There was a girl in this really nice neighborhood I was in, and her dog's name was Kobe. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I'm like, you guys like basketball? You like Kobe? And then she was like, yeah, he's super nice. He lives down the street. It was like this super nice house. And she's like, you see, if you go outside, you'll see a basketball court, and like it's like a little when he moves in and moves out. He puts it outside sometimes, and all the kids play, and he comes out sometimes and plays with them. Aww. And I'm like, dude, this like the guy's the sweetest soul, you know. You don't hear about that stuff, you know. And so like, but anyway, with Kobe, it's just like he was so ferocious on the court, and he was so ferocious within his practice, and he's so ferocious in just wanting to be the best. And you have that same mentality, you know, of him, where it's like this like addiction to being the best, and almost like a fear of not reaching his potential. And it was like he was already there, just like you're already there, but he still would like not let anyone outwork him. And he even there was this very famous story of him, and I don't want to get it completely wrong, so some of you guys might want to correct me on it, but if I'm remembering the math right, I think he was on the court just doing some practice shooting drills and whatever, and then someone else showed up, and I forget who it was, but it was another good basketball player on an opposing team, because they were like playing at that. I guess the game was at night, and he was like practicing, and that guy was practicing shooting around. He ended up staying like extra long, even though he only was supposed to be there for like an hour. He stayed like extra long, and that guy stayed extra long too. But he kept staying, and it ended up being like hours and hours later, and he was like supposed to leave like hours before because like he had a game that night or something. That was the story. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty close to it, the gist of it at least. And at the end of it, the guy left. So Kobe was there before and Kobe was there after, and he left and he said, I just wanted you to know that I'm going to work harder than you no matter what. And Kobe was already like better than him, you know? He's like, I just want you to know you'll never catch up. I'm always going to work harder than you. And I think that there's a lot to be said about that, and just that story in general, because so much like that mentality, living your daily life like that, there's so much about it. And so with our sport and going into, you know, you're either progressing or you're regressing, right? And I think so many people like reach that level of their peak when they do a show, and then they instantly regress, and then they're just trying to catch up and get back to their peak again, and then they instantly regress. And it's like you're just always chasing that last physique. You're always chasing that last physique, and it's like you're not going to get to where your potential is unless you go past that point. And so that's why I'm huge into that. But in the maintaining, I'm not saying being stage shape, but within, you know, relative range of close to stage shape, always looking like you're fitter than the average gym goer.
Yeah, at least looks like you still work out.
Yeah. So
I understand. And going off of what you said too, I think sometimes like when girls do put on excessive amounts of weight in the off season, when it does come time to prep, the focus then shifts from making those improvements, like let's say putting on muscle in certain areas. It shifts from maybe putting on some muscle to gotta lean out. And it's hard to kind of focus on both of those at once, because your mind is like, oh no, we gotta do cardio, and you're gonna tire yourself out. I know that's how my mindset is, right? So like, if I don't want to ever like focus on like just leaning out as my priority, because you don't want to prioritize that if you have improvements to make.
Yeah.
It's a different story if you're already where you need to be, but let's say you do need to, like, let's say bring up your shoulders and you put on 25 pounds in the off season and it's time to prep, you're 16 weeks out. You're just going to be like focused on that cardio and your muscles are going to kind of get the second place attention, if that makes sense, you know?
Yeah, no, it does make sense, because here's the thing that people don't think about is that what I like to tell people is that it's not about how much weight you gain off season, because I see women do it, I especially see men do it, and they're like, yeah, man, I got up to 220, and it's like a goal there, it's just to get up to 220, and they like kind of ignore all the signs of their waistline blowing up, their definition going away, and they just focus on that scale, and they weigh every day, and they're all excited about being 220, 250, whatever it is, right? And they talk about it, and I'm like, who cares what you weigh off season? Like, it doesn't matter. What do you weigh from stage to stage? What's your net gains? I don't care about your total gain. What's your net gain, right? If you weigh 5 pounds more from stage to stage, well, that's good. And as long as you're in the same conditioning, of course, well, that's good. If it took you 50 pounds to do that, well, then you probably want to redo the math again, right? Because just so we're clear on this, guys, on bulking, there's never been an ounce more of muscle gained because an ounce more of fat was gained. Those two do not go hand in hand. I think there's a lot of people out there that still have that misconception. I even still hear the thing, oh, you got to turn your fat into muscle. Like, I hear that sometimes still too. That doesn't happen. That's not how it works. You don't turn fat into muscle. Fat is stored energy. Muscle is amino acids synthesized into muscle cells, right? So like, it's not the same. It's not the same thing. So when people are putting on unnecessary body fat to bulk, like, understand there's a point where you don't, like, there's a point where anything past you building muscle with those extra calories just goes into storing fat. And then all the way into that point, you don't gain more muscle. Like, it's not like you reach that capture point where it's just like, okay, this is how much muscle I can gain. And then anything past that's fat. Even if you don't gain that fat, you still gain that much muscle. So it's tricky to find that maximum amount you can gain. So you're going to probably put on some body fat because you're going to have some overlap of a little bit of excess calories here and there. You can't perfect it where you just gain muscle. But the extra fat is unnecessary. It does not help you build any muscle at all. And even if it did, so let's say it did help you build muscle. Let's say you maximize your gains and you put on whatever. Let's say you put on 10 pounds of muscle and you paid the price for it by putting on an additional 10 pounds of fat. Where if you would have just been clean about it, you would have put on, let's say, 8 pounds of muscle and 2 pounds of fat, right? Let's just say some simple math. Well, for you to get that rest of that body fat off, you're going to lose probably 2 pounds of muscle because, like Ashley said, you're going to be doing more cardio, your calories are going to be less just to try to catch up to that last physique. So when you go through a prep and you only have to lose, let's say, 10 pounds for a prep, you're not doing a ton of cardio, your calories don't get low. When you have to lose 25 pounds, you're probably going to be doing a lot of cardio, your calories are going to probably get pretty low. And what happens in that scenario? Who's more susceptible to losing muscle? The person who's not doing that much cardio and having good workouts because they have a lot of energy and they have a good amount of food, or the person who's having crappy workouts because they have no energy because they're doing so much cardio and they have no food. Right. Obviously, the person who's grinding is going to lose more muscle than the person who's not grinding. There's just no way around it. So, and that's why I say your net gains is what matters. Your net gains is what matters, and the longevity in the sport is going to come from doing what you're doing, which is relatively, I wouldn't say easy preps, but they're way easier than they're not. Yeah. They're easy as they can be. They're easy as they can be. They're not like, oh my God, here we go again. Right. Like, better go and spend 4 hours in the gym this peak week because we got to catch up.
Yeah, and honestly, I felt great. The only time I didn't feel great was that first show of the year when I was a little bit behind on my prep. So I actually did grind for like a week. It was a hard grind, but like I did it, and then I just basically maintained after that. And it is so much easier to maintain.
Yeah. And now it's just a matter of, with you, it's just keeping an eye on keeping you full without,
getting too depleted.
Yeah, when you go to show, it is the harder thing. I will say that, but that's really the issue. That's it, because we don't have the time to like do huge loads because we're competing in 5 days. But other than that, that's pretty much what we're watching. So I think a good thing that people can listen to this is that, one, you don't need to bulk. It's not going to help you gain any more muscle than if you just hit that calorie point of, someone who gains a couple pounds of body fat in the off season, let's say 8 pounds. I'm not saying none. I think it's pretty realistic. 10 pounds. I say 8% of your stage weight. Right around there. So that's pretty realistic. If you weigh 120, we're talking 10, 12 pounds. That's not no body fat. So if you can stay in that range, I think you're going to maximize your gains and have easy preps. still stay healthy, you're having calories above maintenance if you're gaining weight, so your hormones are going to be good, you know, but it's just, what do you want from this? Do you want to always look fit? Even if you're just a regular person, do you want to always look fit? Or do you want to be a transformation client for the rest of your career? And then I can promise you, if the rest of your career is you're a transformation client, when you don't have a show anywhere near, you're going to be 40, 50 pounds overweight 2 years after you stop competing, and you all see them. So it's just, you know, there is something to this that's past the point of, you know, normal. I wouldn't even say normal living, because I feel like normal living, you should be eating healthy, you know, so I don't even want to say that it's not normal, you know what I mean? Like I feel pretty normal now, and I have 1 cheat meal a week. What's wrong with that, you know? So.
Exactly. So we kind of went over a little bit of like how you should stay in check during the off season, and it's your responsibility to track what you're doing and what you're eating, because your coach can't be, you know, right behind your shoulder every second of every day watching what you eat. So there is that aspect of personal responsibility, like what are you doing when your coach isn't around? What are you eating? How are you training? Are you lying when you're checking in? You know what I'm saying? So there's that aspect of it. But then there are some situations where maybe a coach maybe isn't as knowledgeable as he should be, and is giving a girl hours and hours of cardio with very, very minimal calories. Because that's a different situation than kind of what we mentioned previously. Because I do see that happen. And unfortunately, you know, when you're new to the sport and you're putting all your trust into a coach who you think is guiding you the right way, and then, you know, you see it on girls' plans from other coaches that, wow, hours and hours of cardio unnecessarily. So what do you think about that?
Here's the thing. So there's a couple. So when we talk about, so here's the thing. Obviously, the trend that I'm saying is it's not about just the show day. It's about progressing from show to show. It's about doing something that's maintainable. So here's the thing. If I give Ashley 30 minutes of cardio 5 days a week, and you know, Ashley's not a high calorie burner. So you know, she's in her off season. She's eating, you know, 1,600 calories or so in the off season. She's a low calorie burner. I will say that. She's a low calorie burner, period.
But I'm not even hungry.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just everyone's different.
Yeah.
You know, I have some girls that are at 3,000 calories, you know, in the off season. But if I give her 30 minutes cardio while she's in season, and then whatever, 1,200 calories when she's in season, well, her maintaining that is pretty realistic. She can maintain 30 minutes of cardio. And instead of 5 days a week doing cardio, now maybe she does 20 minutes of cardio 4 days a week, 3 days a week to like maintain it. That's pretty close to where she was. Now, if someone's doing 2 hours of cardio and eating 800 calories or 1,000 calories, they're not going to be able to maintain that in the off season. So what I always say is if what you're doing to get in shape you can't maintain, then you're likely not going to maintain staying in shape. It seems to be pretty simple math. If it takes you such extremes to get in shape, why would you look that way if you weren't doing that anymore?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's the thing. So you're kind of setting yourself up for failure. And when we talk about like hormone production and things like that, like fat is a big responsibility for hormone production. There should be a minimum amount of fat that everyone should be eating a day. Like even in the dyers of prep, you should be having a pretty good amount of fat, like a decent amount of fat. Now, I'm not saying a lot, but like there's recommendations on it. The recommendations kind of fluctuate depending on who you're talking to, but and it's pretty low. Honestly, it's pretty low for like hormone production of how much you need, but you need some. And so that's where I see where people make huge mistakes too, where they'll do like all tilapia and veggies and then 2 hours of cardio, and then there's more things happening at that point. Their hormone production is down. They're extremely adapted calorically. Their calorie, like their energy out is so high that their body's forced to adapt. And that's when you have things like your T3 to T4 thyroid hormone conversion, like thyroid hormone output isn't where it should be, testosterone crashes, all these things are happening, body's stressed, cortisol's up. So then you put that person in a scenario who's so hungry and so just waiting to eat that they start eating, and then they just instantly stop doing 2 hours of cardio, and they don't eat a lot of food. They eat like, let's say they eat 2,000 calories, which most of them are going to eat like 3,000, 4,000 because they're just starving. Let's say they eat 2,000 calories, which isn't even a lot. They're going to blow up because now they're not doing 2 hours of cardio, an hour of cardio a day. Now they're not eating 800 calories a day. Now their body's highly susceptible to gaining body fat at this point because your fat cells are just like, give me some calories, please. And then that's when you see these rapid blow-ups. So, you know, longevity-wise, those are the people I see who don't last in the sport. I see those people leave the sport so much faster than people who do, you know, higher calorie, lower cardio preps. You know, that's always my goal, is like, I'm going to try to give you the highest calorie, the lowest cardio prep possible. Whatever your body says to do is where we're going to do it. So on the weekly check-in, is kind of what tells us. So I don't have any, that's the one thing I think that coaches need to do too, is like, you can't have any preconceived notions of where someone should be calorically. I had a girl the other day that I was talking to, and she honestly looked, and I've talked to her about this, I'm not going to say her name, but she honestly looked like anorexic where she was. And I was like, what is your coach doing? Who's your coach? She's like, well, he's increasing my calories like 100 a week. And I'm like, stop. I'm not going to be your coach till you reach a certain weight. You need to eat. I'm going to increase your calories 1,000 just this week. Let's see what happens. And then she still didn't gain any weight because she's like, I'm on 2,300 calories or something like that. And I was like, it doesn't matter if you're on 2,300 calories. It doesn't mean that just because it's like, it seems like a lot of calories, it doesn't mean it's like a lot of calories to you. Right. Obviously it's not. And you increasing them 100 at a time when you look like that is not the route. So we increased them 1,000, and that didn't work for a week. She put on like barely any. I was like, had another 500. And then she's gaining like a pound a week. And I told her, until you get to like the healthy levels of body fat, like past essential body fat, where maybe you're at like, at least get to like 15, you know, in the off season, 15% or something, then you just keep eating and keep gaining weight right now. So it's like, she's already at this point, she was at, the last time I talked to her, she was at 4,500 calories. But her coach was increasing at 100 calories a week. And I was like, dude, what's going on? That's 5% of 2,000 calories. That's nothing. So you can't have like any set notion of, okay, I should be having X amount of calories. Every prep's going to be different, and your check-in is going to what dictates how many calories you should have. But what I will say is, if you can't sustain somewhat close to what your prep was, you're not going to sustain the results. I'm not saying sustain the prep to stay, you know, that's to get in shape, obviously, to get in stage shape. I'm saying somewhat close to that. Ashley being at 1,200 calories of prep, off-season being at 1,600, 1,700, whatever. Now remember, she's a low-calorie burner. That's not a normal thing. Most people, I will say, go up to 2,000 or so.
And I will say, just to interrupt, it's kind of fluctuates sometimes. So since I do shoot a show, it might be 1,200, but then maybe 2 days before a show when I'm loading up on carbs, it might go up and then down. So it's not 1,200 every day. It kind of goes up and down, up and down. I would say wouldn't go below 1,200. Yeah. 1,200 is the lowest, but it does tend to go up on certain days. Yeah,
there's some days where she'll load up like 150, 200 carbs, and that's just that alone is an additional 800 calories. So it could be. So it's a lot of fluctuation on that. Yes. So just a good thing you said that. Yeah,
because I don't want people thinking I've been doing like 1,200 for like months and months and months without like any spikes.
Yeah, and I will say, one of the reasons I think that Ashley was hard to transform after her break, and why she does run a little bit lower on calories, is because she has been dieting for so long. She's been competing for she got 26 wins, so probably 50 something shows,
Yeah, so but I want to just again mention, I don't feel a sense of like extreme hunger. Like, I actually feel less hungry than most people. Yeah. Sometimes my hungriest day is on Sundays after a show. Yeah. Because I'm like, I didn't eat very much during the show day, obviously, because I wanted to keep the waistline small and my adrenaline is pumping, so I'm not hungry at all. But I don't really get cravings or hunger like most girls do. No, well, I'm just like, no.
The thing is, we've checked your hormones, everything, and everything's fine. So it's just how, and the thing is, maybe that's the reason. Maybe you're just naturally a slow calorie burner. Because there's a lot of people who are like that. There's a lot of, I would say.
I save money on grocery bills. What's up? What's up?
Yeah, and it's not like you're low. I would say you're like 20% lower than like the average person with your build type of thing. But, which is pretty normal. You're not like the slowest, you're just like a little bit below the medium. It's not. So, but anyway, to sum up that question of, how you're going to approach a prep, I think you got to approach your prep. Like, the one thing I will say to some people is, like, if let's say you're struggling with the prep and you want to get in stage shape and it's just not working and whatever you're doing is not working, I don't mind someone grinding one time if they're able to sustain it after that grind. Like, sometimes I'm like, hey, do what you got to do to get in shape the first time, but you better keep it. You better do that proper post-show diet, correctional diet phase, so you can maintain it, because you're going into this prep doing a little bit of damage, and you want to make sure to correct that. You want to make sure to come out of that the right way. That way, at least you can maintain it, because you don't want to go through that every single time. Because I promise you, if you do that, 6 shows, 8 shows in, it's goodbye. And then you didn't learn anything. And all you learn is, oh, to me to get in shape, I got to just do tilapia and a ton of cardio. And then for the rest of your life, that's what you do. And then you're constantly, for the rest of your life, going up and going down, going up and going down. And we've all seen those people at the gym, all seen those people who do shows. And the next thing you know, a month later, it's like, man, she competed like 3 weeks ago. Like, you know, you're thinking it. I'm a coach and I think it. I'm like, man, that girl competed a month ago. Like, why? She looks like she hasn't even worked out since then and been eating nothing but donuts. And you talk to her and she's like, no, I'm eating pretty clean. I've had a couple of cheats. And I'm like, what did you do for your prep? And I'm like, oh, that's why, you know? So it makes sense. So yeah, that's an unfortunate part of our industry. And I talk about it sometimes because it's just sad because girls go into these preps like with so much hope and desire and so much like effort and time that they give to it. And then they get blown out because of a improper prep and they never even got to see their true potential. Like, I wonder how many top pros got blown out because the sport was too hard, because the approach was too hard. It wasn't that the sport was too hard, it was the approach was unrealistic. And then they're like, prep ruined my body and this and that. And I'm like, well, was it the prep or was it the method or was it your adherence or was it your willpower? What was the actual reason? It's highly unlikely that eating healthy and doing a realistic amount of cardio every day was what did it to you.
Yeah. You know, I think a lot of people don't realize how, I mean, I can't speak to the other divisions, right? But in bikini, it's not as extreme as people think it is. Like, it really is meant to be like a maintainable physique. Yeah. Really. That's exactly what the judges say. They're like, we want a girl that looks like she works out, maybe dieted a little bit, but just woke up and showed up, you know, at any given time. So it's not, I mean, with bodybuilding, right, it's a little different. So if you're trying to compare it to bodybuilding, it's not going to work like that because that's totally different scenario, okay? Yeah. Obviously, they don't look like they just woke up and, oh, look, I'm here. Maintain this year round. That's how I always look.
I was making sure. I don't know if I rezzed the camera again. I did. Sorry.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, I just, you know, I don't know. I think a lot of people just get that mentality that it is something extreme, and maybe it does come from the people who weren't athletes before, and to them, this is extreme because they really haven't had a taste of, like, this kind of hard work. But me as an athlete, I'm like, you know, once an athlete, always an athlete. I've been training since I was 4 for gymnastics, 4-hour practices at gymnastics as a little kid, 4 hours after school, right? And then in track, like I said, 2-a-day practices, 1 at the butt crack of morning, 1 in the afternoon, meets every weekend, 400-meter repeats, throwing up because they're so hard. Like, if you've never experienced the feeling of lactic acid buildup after 400-meter repeats, whoa, you do that and you'll be like, bikini's freaking easy, man. You know what I'm saying? So I think a lot of people have that mentality because they've never done an intense, like, high-level sport. I'm not talking about high school, okay? Sorry, it is totally next level once you get to college, okay? So I don't think people have that understanding, like, yes, this is hard, but not any harder than any other high-level sport should be. And in my opinion, I'm not going to say bikini's not hard. Of course it is. I bust my butt all the time, but in comparison to other sports, I mean, track, I'm not throwing up after practices for bikini. Let me just say that, you know? Yeah. It's more of like maybe the inconvenience with training for bikini would be more of the diet, right? Okay, you can't go out on the weekends, you know, you got to prepare your food a certain way, you got to eat certain things, whereas in track it was a little more lenient, but still, when we're talking about like pluses and minuses, I would say track's a little harder.
Yeah. No.
In the grand scheme of things.
For sure. Yeah. And I'd even play, my sport at the level that you did, and it was way harder.
You had that physical pain, that getting hit by somebody pain.
Yeah. Yeah, I was still messed up from my 2 weeks ago, that game. But yeah, no, it's just way harder. Like, practices were way harder. There's just so much more that went into it with like your off ice and your everything. Than just lifting and eating healthy, you know? So I think that's the thing that we need to kind of get out there too, to talk about people is, okay, what is prep when it's summed up, what is prep? And I think people really overthink it. Prep is just being in a caloric deficit so you lose body fat so your muscles show better. That's it. Like, people think like when I'm in prep, I instantly got to do tilapia and broccoli and all this cardio. all you need to do while you're in prep is create a caloric deficit so you can lose the fat and show the muscle better. That's it. Like it really is that simple. And it's funny because I used to teach classes for 24 Hour Fitness when like to the trainers, like the new trainers that came in, and I would teach them. And I'm like, okay, like you have one person, and I would always give this example. I would be like, you have one person, they're 300 pounds, they should be 200 pounds. Like, what do we do for this person? And then you have one person who needs to lose 20 pounds to be in shape for a show. What do you do for the two scenarios, right? And then they would always say, well, the 200-pound person, we just need to clean up or the 300-pound person, we just need to clean up her diet, get her to stop drinking soda, you know, make sure she's not doing anything like chips and things like that. Just kind of like clean up her diet at first and get her walking on the treadmill for like 15 minutes every day, something like that, just to get her started, get her going and in the thing of things, right? And I'm like, what about and then what about the person, the contest prep person who needs to lose 20 pounds? They're like, well, we should get them doing cardio fasted in the morning for like 45 minutes. We should get them cardio after their workout for like 30 minutes in their first phase, and then cut their carbs completely out, get them switched to just pure lean meats like 96 ground and this and that. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, you see the problem here, that the way your mindset is? Right. Your mindset is someone here is dying because of their weight, and then someone here is already really, really healthy. And now you're going to take the person who's really, really healthy and give them the extreme diet when you have someone over here who's dying. I'm like, you understand that for this person to get in shape, who needs to lose 20 pounds, they just need to lose 500 calories a day, and then in 20 weeks' time, they would lose the 20 pounds. That's it, 500 calories a day. It doesn't matter how it happens, 500 calories a day for that person, that's it. You know, we'll usually go more extreme than 500 calories a day, but that's the math of it. It's 3,500 calories for a pound. 1 pound, they need to lose 20 pounds. It would take 20 weeks at 1 pound a week. You want to speed it up, adjust the calorie deficit. That's it. It's not like, but you have this person over here who's like, everything's like, their mortality like is at risk here, like, right? And you give them, oh, let's just take it easy on them, which I'm agreeing that I don't think that they should do the tilapia diet. I think that both of them should ease into that prep, right. You know? And so that's the problem with it, is that people think it's so extreme that they shy away from the sport too. Or they think they only know of one way to get in shape for a show, and that's extreme, extreme, extreme. And then they don't even want to prep anymore, or that's all they know, and then they never stay in shape because it's such an extreme to them when it really just needs to be eating healthy. I mean, it's not like that hard. It's just eat healthy, stay in relative close to condition that you were in, make sure you go to the proper correctional phase, and make sure all your hormones are where they need to be, and you're good to go.
Right. You know, I've said this before in previous podcasts. One of the big reasons why I would not want myself to go too far in the soft direction in the off season is because I want to treat my body good. You know, it's worked so hard for me. It's so good to me. In return, I want to treat it good. You know, I don't want to fluctuate. I don't want to go up in 20 pounds and then have to lose 20, go up 20 and lose 20. That's not good on your body, you know. Yeah. It's not being nice to yourself. Be nice to yourself. It's got to be nice. Your body's doing so much good things for you. It's keeping you alive. Like, don't you want to say thank you by treating it nicely? I'm treating my body very nicely. My body says thank you, and it recognizes that I'm treating it nicely.
Yeah, it definitely will.
And in return, I get really good energy and really good moods, and I'm a happy, happy girl. Yeah,
and on top of that, like, it will tell you, like, later on, you know? If gosh, I wish I knew it off the top of my head, but to give you the gist of it, there was research showing that if you gained or lost more than 20 pounds 3 times in your life, that you put yourself at a greater risk of heart disease.
Dang it, I already did that once.
Well, now...
in 2017.
Now, obviously, the problem with the only problem with a study like that is that the people who did that probably are gaining, 50 pounds, and then, some of them are constantly yo-yo dieting or whatever too, and they eat really bad and really get... So the problem with a study like that is that there's a lot of things that go into it besides just that raw study. Mm-hmm. So, but it's, for contest prep people, when you talk about living lean and living healthy, and this is supposed to be health and fitness. Now, this is health and fitness to the extreme. This is not your normal health and fitness. It's not, on stage is not health and fitness. It's the extreme fitness. But you are supposed to be healthy while doing it, and I think that takes a back burner sometimes to looking good, and it shouldn't. Those should coincide, but it happens in the off season. It's super important. It happens in the off season. And to like the people who are saying prep ruined you or whatever, like, there is never, if you did it right, you should be perfectly healthy through your prep. There shouldn't have to be these crazy extremes. If your off season was good, you shouldn't have these crazy extremes. It shouldn't be eating healthy and moving more is not bad for you. That's never bad for you. So anyway, I guess I have a problem with that too, because it bothers me that people say that. I'm like, oh, prep ruined me. And I'm like, how did prep ruin you again? Because you lacked adherence to eating healthy and wanted to just eat bad and blame your coach. Like, that's not.
Yeah, and I think sometimes what happens too is they didn't really necessarily get fat, but they got like normal, right? So they're used to being lean, contest prep lean, and they went back to being normal or a little, I guess, back to where they used to be, right?
Yeah.
It's because they're eating like they used to, and they're not training like they are now. So it's kind of like almost like a mind game too. But in reality, it's like, what do you expect whenever you aren't putting in the work all year round, And I'm like you said, Adam, we're not saying you have to be literally stage lean year round. That is not what we're saying, but within like a range,
Yeah.
And not completely like, oh, it doesn't even look like you worked out ever, you
Yeah.
know. So we don't want that. But yeah, it's just I hate to see that, because it's like, don't give it a bad name. You can do this healthy in bikini, right? You can do this healthy. It's totally doable, but you got to be dedicated. You've got to be dedicated. That doesn't mean like when your coach finishes a plan with you that you just go ham with food and not exercise at all. Of course, that's what's going to happen. Of course.
Yeah.
What were you expecting? But yeah. But I would say, if you have any possible way, it's always good to get your blood work done and hormones just to make sure, And I think that's something that you can be responsible for.
Yeah.
So no matter what your coach does or did to you, you can always get your blood work done and make a decision for yourself. So.
Yeah, I think it's super important to do that. Yeah, and I like the, I just like the tone of today. It's just like, look, it is your responsibility. You can still do your off-season check-ins with your coach. I prefer it personally that people keep checking in so that we can keep that balance and make those improvements. But yeah, it's just there's so many times you see it too, and then people I hate seeing it, and then they turn into the, oh, I'm beautiful at any weight type of people too sometimes, and I'm like, we already went into that episode, but it's like, yeah, you still look great, but if you're trying to be like, if you can get stage lean, you should be able to live fit. Like I don't think there's a time. Like, most of us aren't competing in the Olympia, right? And the people who compete in the Olympia, if they get a little soft in the off season and they look awesome at the Olympia day, and that's how they like to do it, well, so be it for them. Good for them. It works for them, whatever. But most of us aren't doing that. Like, we need to look good all the time, not just peak one day a year. Like, if you're just a regular fitness person, wouldn't it feel good to be able to just go to the pool all the time and look good all the time? Like, why are we peaking for one show when this isn't even in your career yet, Like, you should be able to look good and be confident like all the time. And so that's just something I like to see with people, just like staying in that relatively close shape. And even like when we talk about guys, like just to see how realistic this is, if a guy's 200 pounds on stage, I'm saying that guy is, gaining, he's still gaining 20 pounds in the off season. And if he gains muscle, then it's even more than that, So we're not saying don't gain any,
Right.
A female at 120 pounds on stage, 12 pounds is realistic. There's a lot of coaches out there that have that same type of mindset. So, but there's some out there that are like, oh, I just need to gain fat to gain muscle. And I'm like, no, you want to gain fat to gain muscle because you like to eat. There's a big difference. And I hear people say that all the time. Like, I just need it. I'm just that type that need it. I'm like, no, you just like to eat. You don't need it. If you want to do that, great. It's up to you. But don't confuse people and say you need it. It's not a thing. So anyway. I guess with that, is that our episode for today?
That's our episode for today.
Well, thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you, Angels, for the goat. And and I guess we will see you next episode after Ashley flies back in from Georgia. And also, Anya's going into Georgia too. And Phoebe's going there too. It's going to be a fun time. And I'm going. Yes, and I'm going. Hopefully my flight's a little better this time.
Right.
So, exactly. Yeah. Oh, and Ashley, we got to talk about you got your car.
Yeah, I did. I got the car.
Yeah.
So I got this goat and I got a car.
Yes.
So what was the holdup, you guys? Adam actually literally gave me his car, like the one he actually uses. That wasn't a joke. So in order for him to be able to live in society, he had to get another car first before he gave me his. Otherwise, you'd just be scooting around everywhere in a scooter.
What's crazy is that I told her that And then she went and did it like, she needed 2 more wins. And it was like 10 days after I told her that I'd give her a car if she got this 3 wins this year. And I was like, well, I was not prepared for that at all. So I went around looking for like used cars because I always buy used to let someone else appreciate it. And for some reason, there's like a huge rush of used car sales right now. Like there's like nothing on anyone's lots right now, anything. And I ended up 2 times I got a car. Then I pulled it in. I even have video of it. I was like all excited I got one. I even sent you the first video too.
And then it broke.
Yeah, something happened. It was crazy. So I brought it in. I showed Phoebe and Anya. It was a cool little car. I don't buy anything crazy. And then I hooked up my Bluetooth to the first one, and then only one speaker was working in the car. And I was like, what the heck, man? It's like newer car. It's like 2019 or something, 2020. And then they were like, yeah, I don't know what it is. And so like, we'll get it fixed. And I'm like, I don't want a car that has problems. So then I went and I got another car, had all the paperwork filled out, everything, the car sales was all ready. They brought it up to me and he comes back and he's like, hey, something's wrong with the car. And it was like leaking fluids. Oh. I sent her a video of it. She was like, I don't know what's going on, Ashley. I have no idea. So it ended up like going back. That car I got, which is it's just a little crossover SUV, was the very first car I looked at, but it was overpriced. So I didn't get it because it was overpriced. Then they dropped the price throughout my like 3 weeks of looking, and I ended up getting the same car.
So we're twinning now.
We're twinning now. We have this. Yes. I bought the same car. Yes. I bought the exact same car, different color. It's a good car. I like it.
It is.
Yeah.
Yay. So Adam, if I win like 50 shows, do I get a yacht?
You know what? Let's see.
A yacht to park in the deserts of Las Vegas?
I'll do something at 50 shows. I mean,
that's kind of far away.
I know, it's far away, but it gets us time. I think I got something good.
Okay.
I think I got something good.
Okay.
I'll have to make sure. Yeah. We're going to do
5 rolls of toilet paper. Woo.
Okay. Until then, guys, let's talk to you next time. I just got myself in trouble.